they're not the only ones.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell it.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Streaming live on YouTube, here's Theo Dorsey.
Good people. What we're witnessing right now in sports media is a star on the rise, and that star is Draymond Green. Even in the midst of him going off into the twilight of his NBA career, dropping so many gems last night in place of Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal, who were not on Inside the NBA for the NBA coverage last night in the NBA. And if you had to suffer through those two games, and if you were like me and stayed up late to make sure you can watch some Anthony Edwards basketball, were you a little disappointment? There's a little bit of disappointment with that. It was still fun. It was nice watching the Denver Nuggets literally just rain on everybody's parade, trap the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands. I mean, C-Cat, I stayed up until like 10:50 waiting on that game to tip off. I don't know when it officially tipped off, and watched it into the wee hours of the night and didn't even get to watch one of the greatest shows in all of sports and Anthony Edwards do his thing, because Mike Malone is so damn smart and such an intelligent championship-winning coach. And you know what he said? Hey, Mike Conley's out. Anybody but Anthony Edwards is going to beat us. And what do we get? The Nuggets roll the Timberwolves at home. I mean, that was a bit of a letdown for sure.
You're not lying. Those West Coast tip-off times are brutal, man. I did some pre-negotiation to try to get to watch that game with the lady at home, and I fell asleep before tip-off.
Wow.
I know. Like, I used a favor, and I didn't use it, yeah.
You used up, so you put your chips to the middle of the table, and then you fold it.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's
really bad.
Crazy, C-Cat. We're going to have to get on you for that one. You can call it crazy, or maybe you call it a fluke. And why are we talking about flukes today on Theoretically Speaking on a Wednesday where, by the way, we're going to have Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike jump on a little later. We got a fun show, a very packed-out show. We're talking about flukes because Draymond Green, the guy who is much maligned by a lot of people who dislike his antics off the court and on the court. They dislike his takes on the Draymond Green show. Well, he brought the Draymond Green show to Inside the NBA last night for the TNT's coverage, which, by the way, savor as much of Inside the NBA as you can right now. I hope TNT does keep that package. I hope that show does live on, but savor it. Watch it every single time we have it. Draymond Green last night talking about the New York Knicks. He called them a fluke on the Draymond Green show. And then again, after the Knicks got rid of the Pacers, a 30-point shellacking, a Tom Thibodeau masterclass where he's leaning on guys like Miles McBride into the starting lineup, not just for his defense, but his ability to free up Jalen Brunson. But Draymond Green calling this run by the New York Knicks by the words of a fluke.
Why does Knicks fans think I hate the Knicks, though?
Why do they?
Because you did say you didn't like New York. No, that's a lie.
But I thought you said.
I told the truth about the team. And the truth about the team was it's a fluke.
That's why they don't like you. That's why.
I don't even think Draymond Green is trolling there. I don't think he's trolling when he says this Knicks squad is a fluke. And I'm not here to tell you whether or not the Knicks will make it back to this point in the playoffs again. I'm not even here whether or not to tell you if Jalen Brunson is a capital S superstar in the NBA right now. But if you think about what a fluke in sports is, it's a team or a player who's having success much above what you would expect from them, and they're not able to repeat that in the future. Time will tell if the Knicks are able to claw and scratch their way through the Eastern Conference in the future. If you think about this year, if you want to use the word fluke for this Knicks squad, there's many reasons to believe that, right? I mean, a 50-win team that gets the 2 seed when you have the Miami Heat with just 4 less wins at 46 at the 7 seed, one of the easiest Eastern Conferences we've had in such a long time, and these seedings and these teams' records were so condensed. The amount of wins that separated 2 through 8 in the Eastern Conference this year. The Knicks not having to face real resistance yet, and also struggling with a Pacers team, having to play guys like Josh Hart 48 minutes a night just to get by the Pacers team. There's many reasons to assume the Knicks might be a fluke, but we don't know yet. Time will tell. And then I think about the word fluke. And I think about what we witnessed after the Knicks-Pacers schlubbing, which, by the way, next time going into the future, TNT, I know you want to keep your broadcast rights and whatnot. Next time you have back-to-back games like that, and one of them is a 30-point game, and we're waiting to see the best show on earth in Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves, go ahead and tip that puppy off. We don't have to watch the last 3 minutes of Knicks-Pacers again before waiting for the Timberwolves and the Nuggets to play. Go ahead and tip that puppy off, shift the coverage, and we'll be perfectly fine. That's an argument for another day. I want to talk about what happened in Timberwolves versus Nuggets last night. Game 5, a swing game. It was 2-2, Nuggets, T-Wolves, and a guy named Rudy Gobert, who in Minnesota before Game 4 was awarded his Defensive Player of the Year award. He was awarded his 4th all-time Defensive Player of the Year award. That puts him in rare company. And then in Game 5, Nikola Jokic awarded his MVP in front of that home crowd, and he showed you why all 3 of those letters are vital next to his name. His 3rd MVP, and the way he put it on Rudy Gobert at home, 40 points, and it didn't look like he broke a sweat when Rudy Gobert was guarding him. When we look back on this stretch in the NBA and the fact that we somehow let a guy like Rudy Gobert secure 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, we're going to look back at this time, this era in the NBA, as that being a fluke. Rudy Gobert somehow getting away with 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, yet alone getting put into a series like that against Nikola Jokic, and you can say how many great things you want about him. I think he's like artificial intelligence, but a basketball player. Like Nikola Jokic does pretty much everything at a calculated measure, and it seems like he always does it the right way. He's making the right plays. He has the perfect feathery touch around the rim. He knows exactly when to bump, how strong to bump a guy to get him off his spot. Like, the guy plays close to perfect basketball. But if you're Rudy Gobert and you got 4 Defensive Player of the Year trophies in your trophy case right now, and you let what happened last night happen, and you have guys again, this is Anthony Edwards after the game addressing the fact that Nikola Jokic was torching his team. If you're Anthony Edwards, you're 22 years old. You're carrying the offensive workload for your team. You're trying to keep them in this series. But here's Anthony Edwards and his reaction, which he was brought just to laughter as he watched his Defensive Player of the Year get put in the rim multiple times by Nikola Jokic.
I just laugh. That's all I can do. I mean, I can't be mad because he good, man. I think I said that after game 1 when we won, and in game 2, like, he the MVP, he's the best player in the NBA. And he showed it the last 3 games in a row. Yeah, tonight, he was special tonight. I got to give him his flowers. It was, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we were supposed to. Yeah, he was that guy tonight.
Nikola Jokic joined Chris Paul as the only players to score 40 points, 10 assists, pull down 5 rebounds, and have 0 turnovers in a playoff game in the past 40 years. Nikola Jokic absolutely torched Rudy Gobert. And for him to have 4 Defensive Players of the Year awards, for him to be heralded as a guy who is a defensive stopper in the low post and be taken advantage of like that on national television, in the biggest stage, in a swing game 5 that you have to go get on the road because there's no way you're beating the defending champs back-to-back times with them up against elimination. Rudy Gobert and his run right now in the NBA as a defensive tent pole, as a guy that's considered a guy that is, you can rely on him at the rim against other bigs, maybe even as a help defender, it's got to be considered a fluke. And if not, I don't know what is. There's only been 3 players in NBA history to ever get 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards: Dikembe Mutombo, Ben Wallace, and now Rudy Gobert. And when we read that stat off 30 years from now, 40 years from now in the macro and look at this era in NBA history, it's going to be hard to walk away from that word, that feeling that Rudy Gobert getting that was a fluke. And going back to Draymond Green, when you have your own teammate in Anthony Edwards laughing at your ability to try and stop an MVP in Nikola Jokic, and then you have Draymond Green on Inside the NBA talking about how, this was actually kind of embarrassing if you're Rudy Gobert. Draymond Green specifically talking about how Gobert can't handle Jokic in the post, and then bringing up, C-Cat, his native language in French. Draymond was getting some bangers off last night. Here's another one from Draymond on Rudy Gobert. Again, Draymond's an active player in the league, talking just cash about Gobert.
Why this series ain't coming back to Minnesota. Number one, the big Frenchman is sitting on that podium speaking his native language. We need to do this. You need to get a stop. It ain't we. Karl Anthony Towns is actually doing a pretty good job when he's on Joker. It's you, my man, that's getting cooked. So it's no we. Now, yes, you do need help from the other guys, but on some of those, help can't help you. Like, you just got to get a stop.
And that's what the result of last night was. Help couldn't help Rudy Gobert, and it never showed its head as the Timberwolves fall to the Denver Nuggets. They go down 2-3, and there's only two people for me to blame. Selfishly, I have to blame two people for the reason why I believe in Game 6, the T-Wolves will lose, the Nuggets will move on, and I won't be able to watch Anthony Edwards play basketball again until Team USA this summer. Number one, it's Mike Malone. I mean, kudos. Congratulations on that game plan. You took the ball out of Ant Edwards' hands. You forced guys like Rudy Gobert to have to score the ball, and he did, but he was abysmal on the other end. And the other guy is Rudy Gobert, who got put in the rim and embarrassed time after time. And I do think that we're going to have to reconcile. At some point, we're going to have to figure out what we can do with those Defensive Player of the Year awards. Because just like how a couple years ago when there was that Eastern Conference semifinals, the Celtics and the Bucks, and Drew Holiday ripped the ball away from Marcus Smart 2 times with the game on the line, and I felt like that year Drew Holiday should have been the Defensive Player of the Year and not Marcus Smart, and it felt like he stole that award out of his trophy case. We need to find some way in sports to relitigate some of these regular season awards because what we saw last night was flat out embarrassing. But what else, who or what in sports can be considered a fluke? Draymond Green is calling the New York Knicks this year a fluke team. We can't say whether or not he's right. What we can say is time will tell. Will Jalen Brunson be able to lift this Knicks team to the same heights that he's been able to do this year? Another 40-point performance from that man out of Villanova. Amazing stuff. Who or what else in sports is a fluke? 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. Who or what else in the sports landscape right now is a fluke? And one thing we can say assuredly, Nikola Jokic getting his third MVP, which he was awarded last night, nowhere near a fluke. That dude right there can straight out ball. And again, he's like basketball artificial intelligence. Whatever you want done on the court, he's like an on-court coach. It really reminds me of how much LeBron James would control possessions, especially like his second stint in Cleveland when he was going up against those super teams and the Warriors. Like every single time the ball is in that guy's hands, good things happen. Who or what in sports is a fluke? 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. Hit us up here on Theoretically Speaking. C-Cat and Theo Dorsey bringing it to you again on this Wednesday. Now, the good thing is we do have more basketball tonight, and it will be on TNT. That's right. We got some NBA on TNT tonight to be able to tap into 2 Game 5s, similar to what we had last night. 2 Game 5s. Cleveland down 1-3 to the Celtics. Celtics trying to close out the Cavs at home at TD Garden. That game's going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern, and the nightcap will be the Dallas Mavericks at the Oklahoma City Thunder. That one locked at 2 apiece. Tip-off scheduled for 9:30 Eastern time. Let's try to make good on that so we can get some rest. Let's think about everybody involved here as we have Luka Doncic trying to steal one on the road against the Thunder. And speaking specifically to the first game, the Celtics and the Cavaliers, I think it's time that we do a Baptist Health Orthopedic Care injury report.
My leg! My leg! I am not angry. I am in pain. My leg!
Time now for an injury report.
My head and torso!
Wow, that's crazy. They hit me everywhere except
My legs!
Presented by Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Go where the pros go.
My leg!
Well, the sound is appropriate because for Donovan Mitchell, it is his leg, a calf strain to be exact. This tweet from Sham Charania of The Athletic earlier today, Cavaliers All-Star Donovan Mitchell is expected to miss tonight's potential elimination Game 5 versus Boston. Again, Spider Mitchell dealing with a calf strain. The real question is, number one, is this Donovan Mitchell's last game in a Cavs uniform? Are we going to be seeing, similar to the last time that LeBron James took off that jersey as a Cavalier? We're going to be seeing Donovan Mitchell go from the Cavs to the Heat in this coming offseason. As a Heat fan, I would be signing up for that one. But at the very least, we do not expect to see Donovan Mitchell tonight against the Boston Celtics. So you might just feel like that series is about done. Again, that Baptist Health Orthopedic Care injury report presented by Baptist Health. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. CCAT, we got Evan Cohen coming up here on the show. We also are going to be talking about NFL fan free agency. Today is the day actually where the NFL has its big schedule release. We're going to find out where all the teams are going to be playing, when, and where. Now, CCAT, have you told your girlfriend specifically about what's happening tonight in the NFL and how it's a huge ordeal that we're learning about the schedule?
No, I have not discussed this with her at all.
I told my wife, Ashley, who is sweet. She doesn't really like sports, but she endures it with me because, well, she likes to spend time with the boy. I told her a little bit about this, and she thinks that the NFL is like the biggest scam in the world. The fact that we sit down and watch the NFL draft, the fact that we make a big deal about every single transaction or offseason move, and then she's like, wait, what? So today a bunch of people are going to be sitting back watching ESPN have a 2-hour special on, hey, you get to play the Packers on September 3rd at home. And then you get to play the Bengals September 18th on the road. And then guess what? On Christmas Day, you get to play the Ravens. Like, she thinks it's absolutely ridiculous, and I can't blame her.
I can't blame her either. I'm trying to remove the sports aspect to this. Like, I might think some reality TV that my girlfriend watches is pretty dumb, but imagine if she watched a 2-hour special that took place maybe 3 months before the season began of The Bachelorette or The Bachelor, explaining about when the TV times were going to be of episodes 1 through 20. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is insane, except we live in the world of sports. So if you're going to watch it, you might as well watch it on ESPN2 tonight, right? The NFL regular season schedule being released. Me and CCAT got a sneak peek at it, and we'll, after the break, ask Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike specifically what he thinks about schedule release. This guy's the biggest sports nerd, sports junkie that we know. He stays up late nights watching games. He wakes up early mornings to give you Unsportsmanlike here on ESPN 106.3 from 6 to 10 a.m., Maybe he's a guy that's going to be locked into tonight's schedule release, but knowing him, he's got so many plugs. He already knows when and where everybody's playing. We'll tap into Evan Cohen's brain, as well as I got to discuss this Bronny James stuff because I think people are taking this a bit too far. Bronny James, we finally heard him talk for the first time. I'm going to see what Evan thinks about what we heard from LeBron James' son and his prospects with the NBA. C-Cat's in the house. It's a Wednesday, and we got more Theoretically Speaking when we return here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine